Hello, 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 Jazzy crew. Listen, I am so elated that you guys are tuned into the Jazzy Conversations with Jazz podcast. If you are here with me, you already know that it is a fantastic Monday. Did y'all have a fantastic Monday? This is not the first Monday of the year, so this is your second Monday of the year. Listen, new podcast episode, new goals, right? Did you guys set those new goals? I hope you guys are hitting them, right? New opportunities and new chances for you guys to make sure that you hit every single one of your goals. I want you to crush each and every one of them. Listen, one of my goals that I have this year is to find great eateries. I'm a foodie, y'all. And I know that a lot of you know that about me. But for those of you who are new to my Jazzy crew, I know that this may be something new to you. So I'm going to enlighten you. Listen, let me tell you about a company that I just discovered. Have you ever heard of Soul City? Wait, what did you say? You have not? I'm so glad that you are tuned in because listen, this place is amazing. They're free deliveries, right? Because who has time to go get your food when we clearly have the resources for the food to come to us? Stay with me, all right? Because we're going to take advantage of all of the goodness of 2024, all right? We have Uber Eats, yes, we have all those great things. But listen, I need for you to check out my girl Burley. I'm going to give you a little brief synopsis about her. So her name, she gave me her government name, Kimberly Westbrook, is the owner and proprietor of Soul City Catering. And Soul City Catering was initially known as Slush City LLC. So a lot of you may have been following her brand for a long time because you know that we are always loyal to those people that we start with. And so if you were loyal to the Slush City LLC brand, this is who I'm talking about. And it has only gotten better. That's right, I said better. Like, oh my gosh, the sliders, the cakes, the Taco Tuesdays are phenomenal. They are amazing. Listen, they started in June of 2015 serving only slushes and nachos. But the operation then moved on to Super Choice on Memorial Boulevard. Am I getting warmer? Because I know those of you who are Lakeland natives, I know you have got to know who I am talking about. And she's been around for over 2.5 years, but she now caters, right? So I need for you guys to reach out to her. I need for you guys to reach out to her because she does food trucks at events. She does catering. She does meal prep because who has time to cook these days? And even when we do cook, wouldn't you like the opportunity for somebody to cook for you and to meal prep for you? That's why you need to reach out to Soul City. That's what you need to do. Slush City LLC can get you where you need to be. So Soul City, it was formerly known as Slush City, but it is now Soul City. For those of you who absolutely know, the mission is to provide superior food and top-notch hospitality. Always remember, you're what's driving us. Listen, they are open from Tuesday to Saturday. If you want to take advantage of this, I'm telling you, I have food and it is amazing. I'm singing her praises. That's why I'm actually doing this ad right now, because I cannot wait for her to text me and say, hey, I'm doing dinners right now. And if you want delivery, text me. That's all it takes. Like, she will literally reach out to you. It is personalized service. So you ready? Get your pens and your paper ready. If you are doing this and you're listening to me and you are driving, that's okay. You can rewind this. Like, I don't want you to get in trouble and all of that good stuff. Don't blame my podcast. But listen, this is what I want you to do. I need for you to contact her. This is how you contact her. The number is 863-410-2171. Again, that number to call is 863-410-2171. You can also reach them at www.soulcitycatering.info. Again, that's www.soulcitycatering.info. When you are there, don't forget to tell them that the Jazzy Conversations with Jazz podcast sent you, all right? Listen, we are here in 2024, and I cannot wait until my guest comes on. I see that she is there and I cannot wait to bring her on. Listen, it is a fantastic Monday again. And listen, if you have not subscribed yet on YouTube, go over and log on YouTube. If you have not followed me on your favorite podcast platform, go ahead and head over to Spotify. Go ahead and head over to Google Podcasts. And, where else do you guys listen? Because I am a Spotify girl, but I do know that you guys are Apple listeners as well. My biggest viewership and listening came from Apple Music, Apple Podcasts. And so I love it. I love it because Apple fans are just that. So listen, this is episode 107. It is such a blessing to be here, over and over consistently every single Monday. And I'm so glad that you are here with me because my special guest is none other than Dana Copeland. And you guys should know that because we've been advertising it. We've been telling you about it. We've been knocking you across the head to let you know that you needed to tune in tonight. Now, Dana hails from Winter Haven, Florida, Polk County. We always have to put the Polk County plug in. And she is a dynamic figure. She's an educator. She's a self-published author. And she's also an entrepreneur who is very dedicated to teaching, empowering and inspiring children, caregivers, and aspiring authors alike. We are going to dive into what she considers to be her comeback story. She is the founder and she's also the executive director of the I Am House, which is a nonprofit organization that helps women and children who have survived domestic abuse. So I am so excited about this episode. You know that Instagram and I have a love-hate relationship, but I want to know where you guys are watching from. I want to know where you guys are listening from. So just make sure that you are connected. Look at that. Instagram must know that it's almost Valentine's Day. It loves me. It came on without no hiccups. Hey, Dana.
Hey, how are you?
I am doing well. I'm doing well. How are you on this fantastic Monday?
I'm doing well. Thank you for that introduction. But now you got me hungry
I
after
know,
all this
right?
soul catering.
Burley West will get you right. Look, Soul City LLC. Listen, girl,
Now I
she brought
had a
food
question
to an
because
event. What'd you say?
I don't live in Polk County anymore. So is Soul City gonna be at Children's Literacy Festival
Listen,
in Haines City?
I'm trying to get her there. I'm gonna try to get her there.
Okay.
I'm tagging her in everything that I'm a part of. And I like to eat. I will admit it. I love me some food. And so if I'm telling you guys about her, trust me, she is the business. So I hope that she's gonna be at the Children's Literacy Festival in Haines City. And if she's not, I'm a kidnapper. And she's gonna
I
come
hope
with
so
me.
too.
So
I'm
I'm just
gonna
gonna
text
bring her
her.
there.
This is my booth. Bring it over.
Absolutely. Absolutely. You hear that, Burley. So you got to make sure that you come and you got to give us a special plate. I know like everybody who cooks, like they have like their favorite customers that they give them special things to. So you got to hook Dana and us up, and I know she will. So listen, I I am so excited to have you on. This is round 2, my friend. Round 2. Because we linked up for the first time at the Children's Literacy Festival in Haines City, and I was just taken aback and so proud of you. But you just brought a burst of joy, and like you even had my son involved. You had him up there singing the affirmation song, and I'm like, why am I just finding out about this? Like, what is this? Like, tell me all about it. So
I lost you there for a second. The internet or something is clearly not loving me. You were saying that you interviewed me last time at the Children's Literacy Festival. I had your son involved, and then I missed the next thing.
yes, and I was just saying, like, I want you to introduce yourself to the audience and then also tell me how you became so involved and so consistent in your work of wanting to make sure that kids knew about affirmations and also empowering their families to do their affirmations at home as well.
Yes, yes. So, like you said, I'm an educator. I've been a teacher now for 15 years. I also taught internationally in Egypt. When I lived in Polk County growing up, I watched my mother be in an abusive marriage. And so,
Hmm.
as a result, I had a very low self esteem, unfortunately. And that kind of carried on into my adulthood. And once I became a teacher and saw how much it affects students as well, and I have nieces, you met them on
Yes.
stage. I said, really needs to be done early on to stop this cycle instead of waiting until you become an adult. So I started using affirmations as an adult, and that's how the Power of Affirmations came along. And although it wasn't my first book, I'm so intentional now with my nieces, with my students, and being able to use that with their family at home with the affirmation station, like you saw. And just because I believe in the importance in it, I've seen the difference that it makes. So having them start their day off every morning, whether it's at our classroom or with their family at home, to say what their affirmation is for the day. And again, like just seeing them light up throughout the day if they said, I'm a friend, or I'm a helper, or I am loved, or even saying I'm happy when they first walk in the classroom, and just being able to feel that all throughout the day.
I love that. I love that so much. And I think a lot of people know about affirmations because it's a coin phrase and it sounds catchy and it sounds like something great. But even, even with my kids,
Right.
I try to get them to own affirmations. And sometimes it can be a little weird for them. So how do you get kids to own who they are? And I can imagine that when it starts at the younger age,
Right.
it's better because trying to do it with a middle schooler or a teenager, it's like, really, mom? Like, you want me to say what? And so I want to say, well, don't wait until you are like in your 30s and you're paying somebody to build up your confidence. Like, let's get it now. So,
Right.
how are the little babies so receptive to it?
I think they're so receptive. Well, one, like I mentioned in our last interview, we started with Snoop Dogg's song in the morning, his
Yes.
affirmation song. So they really get into that. And at first they think, it's just a song. But when you're able to show them real life examples where, I'm a problem solver, and you can show them, hey, you thought about a way that you could get out of this situation, or that you could solve this problem. And they're like, I did. Or like I said, how they were a friend, because as they go through life, unfortunately, we know there's going to be so many other negative voices that they hear,
Right.
including the one that, is in their own
Yes.
mind every day. So just
Yeah.
to be able to combat that early, because again, if not, they're going to be an adult going to therapy and learning how, learning how to
Exactly.
believe these things over themselves. And I think it's so much more powerful when the whole family gets involved, and the mother, the father, grandmother, whoever the child is living with can say that thing too. Yeah, I'm going to be a friend today. That one keeps sticking out my mind because so many kids picked it today.
Yeah.
I'm loved, I am blessed, all of the affirmations.
Yes. If you had to choose between if you had to choose your favorite affirmation that you say to yourself, Dana, what is it?
I think my favorite one that I say to myself is I am enough, or I am chosen. Those are my two
I like
favorite.
that.
Uh, I
I
have
am
four
chosen.
chosen. Yeah. In my prayer closet, I have tons that I like look at, the morning when I'm doing my journaling. I have four that are like my favorite. I'm chosen, I'm loved, I am worthy, I'm enough.
I love it. I love it. I one of my best friends, you'll walk into her bathroom and she has these post-it notes and it's of these things that are affirming who she is. And it's like sometimes we keep it in our head and I'm like, but when you see it, like
Mhm.
it is amazing. And so my kids, they still have their post-its in the two bathrooms that we go to upstairs and downstairs. And so it's like, but I'm not really intentional about making sure that they read them and recite them every day like I was about 2 years ago. Like we were heavily into it because they made their own and because I explained the whole process with them, why we were doing it, but then it kind of like subsided and we never revisited it. But one of my things that I'm going to be very intentional about this year is building them up because it may sound a little mushy gushy or it just
Right.
may not hit with them like the importance of why they do it. But I know the importance of it. The importance of it is, building up a strong psyche with them is very important so that when somebody outside of their brain tears them down, their inner voice can build them back up and say, no, you are this person, you are magnificent, you are strong, you are bold, you are smart, you are capable, you are loved. It's like I say these things, to them all the time. And so that's why this interview was so important to me, because I love everything that you stand on. You've built a brand, based off of what you're doing. I
Yeah.
want to go back in time though, because we some Polk County girls. Yes,
Yes.
we are. We are some Polk County girls. So Winter Haven is where
Mhm.
you are from. Girl, that used to be my stomping ground back in the day. Do you hear me?
Up down Winter Haven, yeah.
You all in the Haven. So what part of Winter Haven are you from?
Well, I bounced around to to several different. I think I lived in 11 different places in 3 years that I lived in Winter Haven. So born and raised in Armidale. My last 3 years of Winter Haven, so I always say Winter Haven. Yeah,
Yeah. Yeah.
I
You're always gonna
left
claim that.
the whole city. I lived in so many places, everywhere.
Yes. And I know that just talking about your upbringing, like what is it that you remember about school that you really, really like? Like how did it catch on for you to be this fantastic worldwide educator that you are now? Like what was it about school that you liked?
I loved elementary school. I was always like, we laugh now because we're not, of course, allowed to let students do these things, but I was the one like grading the papers, going and watching the class, like
Yeah.
I was the extra teacher in the class. So I loved it in elementary school. And ironically enough, I hated middle school and high school. Um, my
Oh
sister was the
wow.
my sister was the exact opposite. I just had issues in high school, which were things that I saw, just in the home again, having that low self-esteem. I like to say my Polk County side coming out. If people were saying things, I was defending myself, when it came to arguments. So I didn't really like school, but once I got into college, I was reminded that in high school, I did take this early childhood education class that I loved. And I was like, this is what I want to do. Yeah.
Okay. Okay. Tell me about the if you had to trace back the direct inspiration to even start speaking about positive self-image affirmations, what was it the little girl Dana that you went back and talked to? Was it you talking to your younger self, or was it some things around you in the present at that time that made you go back and say, this is what I want to build my brand off of?
Yeah, I think it was a couple things. Going through therapy, I'm a big advocate for therapy. With the I Am House, we like we discussed, we now offer 3 free months of therapy with BetterHelp. So going through therapy, I think yes, part of it was talking to that little girl who needed to hear those things. And then the biggest part, I think, is having my two nieces. Like,
Yeah.
I want better for them. I don't want to wait until, again, they're that adult. So we speak it over them every day. One of the things that we highlight in the book, an easy way to get families involved without just saying like, oh, what is your affirmation for the day? What is the peak and the pit? What is the best part and the worst part of your day? And that like really goes even further. We're talking about emotions and how you can handle situations, self-regulation. So I would say those two are the biggest. Again, wanting to heal the little Dana inside and wanting to be better for them.
I love that. So the peak and the pit. So for, those educators who will come back and watch the replay of this, use it,
Yeah.
sprinkle, sprinkle. No, let me stop this. Let me not, let me not bite off of anybody. But that's great. Cause I just know, like, even in doing, admin work, like when we would go into teachers' classrooms, like we wouldn't call it like needs improvement, all of that. Like we would call it
Right.
grows. Like you need
Right.
to grow in this area, and glows. Like what glows and what grows do you need? So I love that positive, speech, because it doesn't leave you with like any negative thoughts, because it's just like, your peak you know that that's what was really, really exciting, something that really, really, just really gave you purpose for that day, or something that really made you happy. But then your pit doesn't necessarily have to be something that was so sad, but it's like what was, just something low that you may need to work on, or something that did make you sad. So I like the terminology, I like the verbiage of it. And so just bringing you, full circle with it. What do you consider to be, your comeback? Because I know that you are so intentional with your nieces, which, by the way, they are the most adorable girls on this planet. Your sister, their mother, just has them like looking like baby dolls. I love to watch their family photos and the portraits that she does with them. Like, I'm like, these little girls are the cutest. And then, yeah, when you brought them on stage, I'm like, they're here. They're actually here. Like, you made them famous with
Right.
your affirmations book.
Get
So,
the tone that they're
we
famous. So they believe that they are. Yeah.
they, they are. I just, when we this show is so important to me. Just like your life's work is important. My life's work is morphing into inspiring those. We look at people every single day. Like, I'll look at you. We may pass by one another, we may speak, you may have a bright smile on your face, but what I truly know is that everyone goes through something, whether they've been through something or they're currently going through something, and we never know. But what I know is that there are jewels in every single person's comeback. And your story is going to resonate with someone who has gone through what you've gone through, because your story is just the catalyst to the great person that you are now. And when you think about it, when we had that conversation, what do you consider to be your comeback?
I think my comeback for me, I think my comeback for me is I was in several difficult relationships as a result of watching my mother be in hers. And I kind of, as a result of one, like lost all hope, to be honest. I was severely depressed, and I wasn't suicidal, but definitely had suicidal ideations. Like, I was just fine with giving up.
Yeah.
I think that God turned that around and really showed, like, I have more purpose and a plan for your life, Jeremiah 29:11. And I was able to use those experiences to come back. We got to be careful what we pray for. Not saying that God put this on me, but I used to say, like, God, repair me in every way, to help women who are just like me. Well, baby, I wasn't expecting,
Yeah.
I wasn't expecting to go through all that, but just that comeback story to say, no, that person didn't win, the enemy didn't win. I'm able to now stand here, a woman of God who has collected herself, who is determined to not only tell myself all of these affirmations, but make other women and their children believe the same thing as well, because that is who God says that we are. So what the enemy meant for evil, has been able to be turned around and been a success story, again, not only for myself, but for other women to see, and how they can make changes. It's not always difficult, and it's not always, it's not a linear path. We go
Yeah.
through
Yeah.
different stages in our healing, but it can be done. And yeah, he has more planned for us.
Around what age were you when you came out of like that last situation? Like, what age were you?
Oh, how old am I now? 36. So this was just within the past few years. I would say like 32, 33 was
Hmm.
the real catalyst, yeah, that made me change everything.
Yeah.
And at
And
that
one of the
point, sorry, at that point, I had already started the I Am House. Like, I got that idea a couple years prior to that in Egypt when I was teaching there. So I had the idea, and I knew that this was something that I wanted to do, but it was that situation that was really like, oh no, someone needs to step in. Things have to be done differently, because it makes me think back to when I was a child. Like, had someone stepped in after my
yeah.
mother was in that abusive marriage and, told me this isn't what love looks like,
Yeah.
this isn't a healthy relationship, it could have been different for me growing up. I wouldn't have had to necessarily go through those things. Yeah. On
I
the
I love it. I see it too. So Burley is saying I had to stop praying for patience because he's definitely giving things to teach it to me. And yes, ma'am. Listen, I try to you can't beat the maker at it. Like, You know how we say like, oh, just help me to be strong, help me to be whatever. Like, but I'll add a caveat to that, but I'll say God. But I don't want to have to go through so many things. Like just give it to me. Like I don't need to go through anything. Like God, you don't need to teach me like that. It's a little meme out there that's like, God, take me off your strong list. Like he take me off the list.
Not in 2024, Lord, not in 2024. And I also saw her say earlier something that I am enough, keep circling back. Please put it on your mirror tonight. Allow yourself to continue to say those things over because obviously it's a word that's, coming to you for a reason because you are enough.
You are. You absolutely are enough. When you think about all of the great things, all of the good work that you are doing with your I am, um, with the organization that you are doing, I wanted to give you the opportunity to really hone in on the successes that you have had, with your I am house because you not only empower kids, but you empower women who have been through those domestic violent situations. And so tell us about the work that you do and what you have in store for the future.
Yeah, so I founded the I Am House again as a result of what I experienced when I was younger. I am portion of it being that we believe the I am affirmations from the Bible that we talked about earlier. So this past year was a huge year for us. We became a 501c3, even though I started it as an LLC years ago. And I have to give God a praise report there because many people said, oh, it's going to take 6 or more months.
Yeah.
I prayed on that thing. I said, God, my anxiety, I can't wait 6 months. So when I fill out this paperwork, I need it to be expedited process and for it to come quickly. And so I decided, oh, I'm just gonna call and see. Thank you for that, Victoria. I'm just gonna call and see, like has the paperwork been done? So it was
Yeah.
I called, I waited on holding, the IRS, like that was a whole thing, calling the government. And the lady answered, and she was like, I have good news for you. Like, you had a 501c3. It was a month to the day. So I said,
A
look at
month.
1 month to the day. And we became a 501c3. So that happened big for us. We hosted our first domestic violence awareness walk this past year. We partnered with BetterHelp. So again, you can get 3 free months of therapy with the link in our bio. We have tons of things planned for this year. So what has happened so far with the organization, you're able to contact us wherever you're at. And we're able to help locate resources because a lot of times, whether it's you don't know where to start or you're not in a safe environment where you can necessarily, call around or, look up these things, we can help find those resources for you. And eventually, we want to be a transitional housing facility where we will
Oh,
intake women and
amazing.
their children. Yes, so we're just really excited of all that God is doing and will continue to do. This year, I feel like I'm forgetting things, but we have a private support group on Facebook that you can
Okay.
join. We're really going to build that up this year, just that we can help each other. We don't necessarily all have friends who've been in abusive
Right.
relationships or it's not being about, but here behind the scenes we can support each other and talk about just the struggles that it is, things that are still triggering us or things that are working for us. Like this morning I dropped in a meditation from the app Soul Space. It's free if you've never used it,
Mhm.
but just one that talked about how to manage those negative thoughts and work past that. So just little tidbits. We have a free affirmation station for women that you can download, tons of things.
Awesome. So where are you located right now?
So I'm living in Georgia right now, praying about where God is going to have us,
Yeah.
put a physical location. But yeah, looking forward to the day that will happen. But until then, we'll continue to offer online support to women and host our events in person.
Awesome. And because I wanted to drive that point home, that's why I asked about the location because, this community is, not necessarily in a brick and mortar where we cannot access you and we can't reach you. Like, women, if you're going through, domestic abuse, domestic violence, like there is a place for you, there is a community for you. And like she stated, it's a private group, it's online. And then, I encourage you to take advantage of that, because we go through so much. Like sometimes we are just like a walking cry for help, but we look so pretty and we just look so put together. And it's like, if people just take that time to just really, really look at us or really, really talk to us, I think that, we'll just find so many different stories and different opportunities that we have that we can help the next person. Dana, what would you say to a woman who's watching this, who's afraid to even tell parents, because maybe they came from a two-parent household where domestic violence didn't live? What do you tell the person who's afraid to tell her best friend because she's the strong one of the group? What do you tell somebody who is suffering from self-esteem issues, who doesn't even have a voice of her own? Like, what advice would you give to them to seek help, to take that first step?
One, I think the first one is you are not alone. I think that many times abusers isolate women to the point that they feel like they have nobody to turn to, or they've had them turn away from their friends and their family and kind of think, how do I go back out of this situation? It's so embarrassing. So just knowing that there's help out there, and there's women like me, there's so
Mhm.
many others. Statistically, 1 in 3 women have experienced domestic abuse. So if you think about the women that you know and you're like, wow, 1 in 3 of
Yeah.
us, have experienced it. So there are resources out there, even if I think it can be tricky when you talk to people who've not experienced it or who unfortunately are in the church,
Yeah.
because you can hear that a lot of times, girl, just stay with them, make it work. But the right people are there, and talk to someone and open up. Again, you can reach out to us. We're on Instagram, the I Am House. We have tons of resources on our website, the iamhouse.org, that kind of play through all the different scenarios, because if you've never experienced it or if you're questioning it, you can say like, well, is this abuse? I know I don't really feel happy,
Right.
all the time. And there again are definitions or questions to ask yourself, but reach out. We'd love to help you in any way that we can, with therapy, with finding resources in your area. But definitely you are not alone. Talk to someone, because at the end of the day, your life is at stake, because it can turn violent, and you just need to live a better life, even if it's not violent. Like, emotional abuse is, whew, to me, it was so much harder to get
Yeah.
over. Like, the bruises
Yeah.
heal, the scars that are left from emotional and mental abuse took years to get over.
Absolutely. Because you have those thoughts in your head. It's just like with dealing with a child. If you have a parent who, when the first thing when they wake up in the morning, all they're hearing is a yelling voice or disdain, from the time they wake up until the time that they come back home or go to sleep, that pierces and permeates like the brain, and in your subconscious, that's all you hear. You hear that voice telling you that you're not
Right.
enough, that you are not worthy, that no one is going to treat you as good as this abuser is treating you. So it's all psychological. And so that's why I love the work you are doing, because I myself, like, I watched two of the most strong people in my family that I would never have thought, like, no man is going to ever do that to them. And I just remember, just being so small, but also overhearing conversations about how are we going to get her out of there? Like, what are we going to do? Like, literally hearing the escape plan for this person that I was like, but she's so strong. Like, I would have never thought she would be in the situation. So it is very heartbreaking to see. And like you said, like, once your spirit is broken, like, they've got you. And I really, really need for everyone who's watching this show, whether you're a male or whether you're a female, just to know that there are communities out there for you, and just take that step, to reach out.
A couple things of what you just said. We also have free safety plans on our website that you can download. Maybe you're not there yet to where you're ready to leave, for whatever reason that may be, but it's just questions that you can go through, numbers that you can plug in, things that maybe you don't think about, that if I need to get out of this situation right now, how can I get me and my family out safely? And you were talking about growing up in the house. So, I mean, I saw it. I also see kids, as being a teacher, things that they experience, the trauma that they
Yeah.
experience, and we don't realize how it affects them, right? So, in my mother's mind, we weren't seeing it, face to face. She was thinking, oh, they didn't know that this was going on in the house.
Right.
Meanwhile, you know, I'm over here curled up with my sister in the bed, boohoo crying, and I'm over here in this. And same thing with students when they're acting aggressively in class. Or I went on later, and in high school, they used to call us Ike and Tina, a relationship I was in. But because that's what I thought,
Yeah.
that love, I
Yeah.
can laugh about it now. It wasn't, it wasn't funny then, but of course,
Right.
that's what I thought. The yelling, the screaming, the fighting. This is what I saw in my house. Like this is what love is supposed to be like. So just protecting those kids because they deserve better and they're looking at you to see, what should be done.
Absolutely. And like listening to you with this, I'm sitting here just like, wow. Like, you know how we can see things, and you know this, you know how we can see things in our home and we know that it is not anything that we want to go through. We know that it is not right because it doesn't feel right to us. And even with our parents, we can sense it because it's that love language thing. Like we can sense it. You can sense like when your mom is with a smile and saying, "Baby, I'm okay," but you're like, I don't feel that you are okay. Like I see that with my son all the time. It's like we are so in sync. Like he'll just come and give me a forehead kiss and he's like, "Mommy, are you okay?" And I'm like, "How did you know I even needed that right now?" Like kids are so observant. They analyze and they
Right.
know. They may not be able to articulate it, but they feel it. But I find it so interesting that the things that we try to run away from, the things that we see and we know we do not want this for our family. We do not want this for ourselves when we get grown. And sometimes we follow right back
Right.
into that cyclical thing. And I'm like, I don't understand it because it's like your brain is telling you that you're not doing it,
Right.
but you are doing it because your environment is so critical to how you move. And
So
even
critical.
as adults, they tell you that your circle is important, right? Like it is such a psychological thing.
I can remember saying to my mom once I got older, like, "You're so stupid. I would never allow someone to treat me that way. I'll never be in that
Right.
relationship." And again, the first relationship I got in, 5 years on and off, and that's what we did. And again, if you're a parent on the line, they say one of the most traumatic things you can do to a child is allow them to be in that type of environment. And of course, I'm not bashing any parent who is. It
Right.
is very difficult. I can't imagine. I'm single and went through that. I can't imagine having kids and
Right.
having to process that. But them as a child hearing that and knowing that, mommy's getting hurt and there's nothing I can do about
Yeah.
it, and she's the person, who I love the most, is so, yeah, traumatic for a
It
child. So,
is. I can definitely imagine that. I love your loving spirit, and I love me an educator first and foremost. Burley, before we segue into that, but Burley is so funny. She's so comical. You read her comment. She's talking about Sophia said, "Not in my house."
not in my
Listen, Burley. Sophia off The Color of Purple. Did you see all those strong women that she grew up in the household with? That's why Sophia was able to say, "Not in my house." Sophia was a whole beast in herself. She was ahead of her time back then. So you saw them women, they built their own
right.
house. Now she she was really strong. So that's why your environment is so important. I want to know all about your teaching you said you were in Egypt, right?
Yes.
How was that? Explain that experience to me because I've always wanted to teach abroad. Like what was that experience
Girl,
like?
let's go. Oh, no.
Let's
Teaching
go.
abroad was I'm doing the Lord's work, you guys. That's why I'm here right now, or I would be back over there. My heart is still in Egypt. That's what I say. Funny enough, I did a research project on Egypt in third grade, fell in love, and told my family, like, one day I'm going to go and visit. Well, if you don't know about my family, born and raised in Polk County, they're still there, never left. So to
Yeah.
them, they were like, yeah, okay, you'll go one day. But it just became more of a calling as I got older. And I can remember in college looking up programs that I could go overseas with, but of course they cost money to go. And I'm like, I'm not paying to go over there.
Yeah.
And then 2014, I found this program called Teachaway. They're a website that houses like all international positions. And so I interviewed, got the job, went in 2015.
Yeah.
And so it was amazing. Like you have so much autonomy there. The resources are endless, which of course as teachers, we don't know that life.
Yeah.
We don't like here in America. tons of planning time. They pay for your housing. They take you to and from work. The money is tax free in most places.
Yeah.
So, go ahead and teach internationally. It's the thing to do. But that's where I actually got the idea for Around the World with Coco, which is the first book that I wrote and is now a series. So it teaches kids all about different countries. So at the time when I was living there, I was writing my nieces postcards to teach them all about Egypt. And so God gave me the idea to turn this into a book. And so the book is me teaching them through postcards. And as a teacher, of course, I have like nonfiction text features in
You
there, questions, and
you better get it. You better get it.
so yeah, that's how it all started for me. So now the next one will come out hopefully before the Children's Literacy Festival so I can bring it there. And so now for people who are looking for ideas, that's how I travel since I'm not teaching internationally. I write it off as business expenses because I have to travel to write the books, right? So that's now become part of the brand.
I love that. And one of your videos, you had me laughing. You said you started laughing. You were like, "Yeah, someone said that I wouldn't travel by myself, or I needed a man to travel." And it was like you laughed in their face, and I'm like, "I know that's right. I know
One
that's right." Because
thing I'm
look,
gonna
sis
do,
has been
I'm gonna get on that plane and go. Okay,
yeah.
with or without friends. Oh, okay. So someone used Teach Away to teaching you a small world. Yes. Did you
Yeah,
enjoy
Cambridge.
I, Egypt? You could tell me no wrong about Egypt. I love it. You have to go one day.
Listen, I wanted to, I wish I could have lived like vicariously through both of your experiences because well, first of all, I wasn't even thinking about education. Like education literally just really said, come here, sis. Let me talk to you for a second. I ain't gonna hold you. I ain't gonna hold you long, but I'm gonna hold you for a long. I'm gonna hold you. I'm gonna hold you for a lifelong time. You know what I'm saying? I was just like, had I known that, because a lot of people used to always say that they saw an educator in me, etc. And I'm like, how?
Yeah.
Like, you want me to be broke? You want me to be poor? Like, so it's just like, it's just like that little joke. But even like in every position that I had, and even the one that I serve in now, and I'm like, God, please tell me what you are doing. Like, please tell me what you are doing because even today, and this is no lie. And so when you say third grade, I'm like, oh, shoot. Like, I'm about to curse, but I'm like, no, I can't do that because I'm talking about God right now. But I was like, oh, shoot. Like, you said third grade. And guess what, girl? Like I just booked a partner to come in and teach my kids archery as one of their enrichments. And so we were talking and I kept looking at his face and I'm like, I know you from somewhere. And I'm like, your face just looks so familiar. And so I said, do you have kids? And he's like, yeah, but they're grown. And I said, what's your name, sir? He tells me his name. And I said, oh my God, I taught your daughter in third grade. He looked at me. He was like, oh my God, you are Miss Bennett. He was like, she loved you, da 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 da. And I'm like, I have been running into these moments. Like I was cleaning up my son's room. We were cleaning up their room the other day. And I have a bag from like my first year where I started teaching. I think I started teaching. Ooh, I want to say that this stuff, I started teaching like around, girl, I don't know, maybe 2003, 2004. But I had this bag. And you know how you take class pictures and there's like pictures of like all of your students. And I'm like, oh my God, like these kids are 25. These kids are like married with kids. And I'm just
Kids, yeah. That's
like,
crazy.
what in the world? Like, girl, I have students that are married and I'm not even married. Like, what in the world is going on? Like, really life.
Oh,
But I don't think people will ever understand it if they've never been bitten by the education bug and if they just really don't have a true love for kids. Because I can tell you, like, no matter what position I have that took me out of the classroom, my heart is still in the classroom. Like, I always say, I'm gonna just step back in for a year because everybody deserves a Miss Bennett. Like y'all don't understand. You need you a Miss Bennett. Like I tell my son that all the time. I'm like, I really wish I could just be your teacher. Like there's no way that you would not know this if you were in my classroom. And I know he gets tired of me saying that, but I'm like, no, you really don't understand. And so when we meet students and they gloat about me, I'm like, see, I told you. But
yeah.
that comes with pure passion.
Mhm.
And when I see an educator like yourself and you go off and you do things like you have educational materials and you have books and you're able to vend at different places, I'm like, that's it. That's what I missed. I missed that boat. Like, I was just so linear with what you could do as an educator, but that love for education can grow outside of your classroom and you educate people outside of your classroom and even adults, which is how I met you. We
Yes.
were at the Haines City Literacy Festival, and again, like, your light was just so bright, and then your vending booth. Explain to me how you even set up. Like, what's your mental space when you're setting up your vending space? Like, what are you trying to show the consumers?
Um, Definitely what would attract the eye, for little kids walking by. I can't wait for this year because I've added so many
Oh,
new things. I can't wait for people to come by. Come by and see. It's going to be bigger and better this year. But definitely like things that you think of when you think of traveling. So like globes, little trinkets that I have from Egypt. I have to be careful because the kids last year were like, "Can I have this?" And I was like, "That's from Egypt. Let's put that back down,
let's
baby."
put that down.
You don't have that pyramid. Sorry, sorry. But no, definitely little things to catch the eye. Yeah, and what's going to get the kids excited to be there. But again, so many new things this year. And made me think when you were talking about how invested you are with the kids. I had a student who unexpectedly withdrew today, ruined my whole day. I couldn't even get through it. I said, I'm going to call this and be like, bring my kid back to school.
Right.
To our kids, bring my kid back to school. I need him back in class. So yeah, we definitely, we get invested for
You
sure.
do.
Yeah.
So how old are your first students? Do you know?
Say that again.
How old is, like, your first class that you started teaching?
Oh man, I was teaching 2009, and that was third grade students. So, oh man, what year are we in? We're in
I know, right? They would have been like 8. So what is
23,
that?
but
Like
those were my
15. So they're like 23.
yeah, 23. So that was third grade, but I also taught high school at one point. I taught fifth
Yeah.
grade. Like they're all different ages. Yeah.
Girl, so my math is all jacked up. If that was 2009 and I started teaching before that, them kids older than, ooh.
Oh,
But yeah. Yeah. I know, it's just like
there. That's up there. Yeah. Especially like I said, the high schoolers, I'm like, oh wow, y'all are old. And I was your teacher. Bless you.
do they remember you?
They remember. They, now their Facebook group. I'm like, and I'll see the things, and I have to forget or have to remember, like, I'm no longer their teacher. Take this down. Why are you talking about these things? You're a baby. I'm disgusted.
Exactly.
Take it down.
Exactly. It says I wasn't gonna say nothing about y'all math. Listen, don't do that, Burley. Like, we was figuring it out. We got it. We got it. We not having them sales every single day where we got to keep calculations in our head. That mental math is really good though. We really have it. Do you what do you like? What do you want to leave? What imprint do you want to leave on this planet?
Oh man, I think just really the love of God and who He says we are.
Yeah.
Just able to instill that in. Sorry, man, it's not just women and children, but really like that's who I'm aiming towards is women and children. Just that we all know that we're His, and again, who He says we are.
Love that. I love that. I love that. So we didn't go through the timeline of your books, but let everybody know out there the books that you have authored and then how you even became a self-published author. Like, I know it was because of your travels and you writing your postcards back and forth to your nieces, but what's your catalog? Run that resume. Like, we trying to support you,
I know
girl.
we talked about a couple businesses on here. So if you're wanting to follow this page, you're already here. Author Dana Copeland.
Yes.
You can find the books at danacopeland.com if you're wanting a discount or a signed copy. So I have Around the World with Coco. That was the first book, which is now being turned into a series. The Power of Affirmations, which is so interesting because you never know, like the impact or what people really think. I've gotten that before. Thank you.
And I'm like, as soon as I saw that comment pop up, for those of you who are going to be listening, someone in the comment just said, "Hey, Dana, you remind me of Robin from Real Housewives of Potomac." And then they just said, "Congrats on your books." Like, as soon as I saw that name, I was like, "Oh, she does sound like her too." And
Oh,
I'm like, "Okay, she looks like her a little bit, like, but you sound like her for
I don't
sure."
I don't watch that when I used to watch like Atlanta, so I say like, oh, is she a nice person? Is she okay? Is she okay? Um,
Dana, was she a
but
nice
so
person?
I came out with the Power of Affirmations, and then those were in the same year. And I was teaching summer school, and the school that I'm at has a predominantly like Latino population. And so a teacher there who speaks English, she said, "Hey, I really want to translate your book for you. I'll do it for free." And I was
I
like, "For free?
love that.
Oh, okay." So she did that this summer. So re-released the book in Spanish. So that's the third book. About to come out with the fourth, which is the second one in the series. Just booked the trip for the next one in the series. So big things are happening, and hopefully some more products that are still in the mix will be out by the Children's Literacy Festival, March 23rd, 11 to 4 o'clock at Lake Eva Park. Hope to see you there, and that you'll get to see what's coming out. But yeah, some interesting things coming. Really excited about it.
So listen, I love that. And I cannot wait to see what you have next. I know it's gonna be something phenomenal. Just I'm gonna take you down two nostalgic places. Number one, this is someone who knows you from high school. You see that somebody said this is Mercedes from high school, so you should know who that is.
Hey, girl.
And then I got an inbox today over on Facebook. I didn't realize how many people did not have Instagram. Like, I'm going to have to figure out how to merge these two lanes because there's so many people on Facebook that can't watch this on Instagram. Like I said, I just didn't know that many people didn't have Instagram. But, oh, because we call her Cha Cha, but Cha Cha wanted me to tell you hi. She worked with you at Winston Elementary. Latanya,
Tasha, you'll have
what is Cha Cha?
to.
What'd you say?
I said I don't know anyone by Cha Cha. You'll have to tell me her real name at Winston.
Okay, so you're gonna know, and she's gonna kill me because I'm so horrible with names. But that's why that name is Rhonda is her real name, I think. But she used to work in the front office. She's one of the
Rhonda
secretaries.
Cole.
Yes.
She used to help me out. Look, I went to her all the time. That was my first teaching position. I used to always be in the office with questions. How do I do this? How do I do that? I
She
love when,
said you make sure you tell her
yeah,
hi.
yes, so I said hello. And I missed one of your questions earlier. Look, Mercedes, I don't know if you were on earlier. I was talking about how I used to be in high school. Look, she could have really chimed in. She knows. Um, but as self-published authors, when I got the idea for the book, I talked myself out of it. You know, what do I know about writing a book? Who would buy the book? How would I promote and market it? So I started doing research and found that for me, self-publishing was the way to go. So yeah, it took some work. I actually have a link on my website, danacopeland.com. And if you're interested in publishing, you can reach out to me and I can consult and figure out how we can help you as well.
Coins.
Yeah.
I can consult. Listen, I love it. I absolutely listen. I'm telling you, when I say I love it, like I'm not even joking. I'm not trying to blow smoke or anything. Like I just love when an educator takes control and they are about their business and they know how to encapsulate their gifts, but they know how to also market their gifts. Because listen, the things that we do, like people used to tell me all the time, like when I was thinking about stepping out of the classroom, they're like, listen, you can do organizational leadership, like you can do seminars, you can do consulting. Think about all the things that you do in your class. Like corporations need people to come and teach and train people on the knowledge and the skill set of what they want for their organization. And I'm like,
So
you know what,
know
why don't
someone who left out of the classroom and not trying to get people out of the classroom. We need our,
right.
strong educators. But she left and doubled her salary working at a bank. She was teaching them, the new material that needed to be learned at the bank. And I was like, oh my gosh. But things that we don't even think about. Or
Right.
someone reached out to me about a week ago about an ebook and how could they put out an ebook and could I help them with that? And then, so I'm explaining how to do it. And then I said, it just came to me. I was like, well, if you need help creating the ebook, like
Yeah.
I'm great stuff like that. And she was like, oh, definitely, like put together a pricing guide. I said, things that we don't think are gifts that
Don't
just
even
come
think
naturally,
about it.
and we just
Don't even
want to
think
think
about it.
about it. Maybe I can help you with that.
Listen,
Let me
and good
get
for you.
it for you. Yeah.
And good for
Hi.
you. I love it. And go ahead and add graphic designer to it too. You don't took my whole picture and created a whole nother flyer. I said, well, go ahead, Dana. Then go ahead then. Like you
Next
better
on my
brand
page, you see
yourself,
the
sis.
I had to
You
keep
better
up with.
listen. I'm like you better go ahead and brand. Like I love it. I love people who are about their business because I get to learn from you as well. Dana, before we go, I am going to, after this question, I do want you to promote anything that you want to take us out. But I've for some reason I'm led to ask you this question. How do you go about being obedient?
Mm,
Because I feel that there are a lot of people who are sitting on talents, and just listening to your story, of what you've overcome, how you turned it into something powerful and something that is empowering others. I can imagine that it took some obedience, because I can imagine that it was scary at first, just like how you said, with you trying to be a self-published author. What
right.
advice would you give to someone who's afraid to jump, who's afraid to be obedient to God's voice, who's afraid to just be obedient to that inner voice that they have that's telling them that you are enough, that you can do this? What advice would you give to them about being obedient?
Um, I'm going to tell you something. Obedience is not always easy, but it's always rewarding. So when I left to go to Egypt, it was one of the scariest, if not the scariest things I had done, but I felt reassurance in that I was being obedient. God was calling me to do this, and He had put it in my heart, so long ago as a little girl. So on the other side of that, yes, oh my gosh, the experiences that I had, traveling the world, meeting all these people, seeing these different cultures and life experiences that I could have never dreamed of outside of the little girl in Polk County,
Yeah.
who grew up there. Those things are so foreign to me, literally. But now I'm in a season where I feel that God is calling me to be here, right? And do these things, the I am house and what, but my heart is in Egypt. Like I said, Egypt is home to me now, and
Yeah.
it's such a struggle because I am trying to be obedient, but that calling is still there, that
Yeah.
longing rather is still,
Yeah.
to be. So it's very difficult to give up that and the lifestyle and the people that, I love. But I'm here, and look at the amazing things that have happened because of the yes to stay here right now. I could have never dreamed, that I would be on the fourth book, that the I Am House would be doing the things that we are and helping these women get out of these abusive situations. So it's not always easy, but God will use your yes. And He's not asking you to figure out how to do it. He's just asking for your yes. I always think of this song. Do you know Shekinah Glory's Yes? Girl, if we start playing it right now, I'll start crying. It's an old song. If you're on the line, you'll have to look it up.
Okay.
But it's Him asking, will your heart and soul say yes to what I'm asking you to do?
Mm-hmm.
Um, always gets me choked up every time. So again, it's not always easy, but it's always the best thing to do.
I love it. That's pivotal. And that's how I want to end this episode. I love it. Listen, we gotta stay in contact with you. I need for our Egyptian brothers and sisters, like, reach out to her, because she has a longing to come back. Somebody book her to do a guest, be a speaker, be a ghostwriter. Look, Egypt is calling her name. All right, we're gonna try to get you there. We're gonna try to get you there. But let everybody know how we can stay in contact with you, how we can support you, and how we can use the resources that you offer.
All right, y'all. So many different ways. So stay tuned for this part. DanaCopeland.com. You can go and look at all the different books. I'm on YouTube, author Dana Copeland. We're really trying to get the channel
Yeah.
going. Again, on Instagram, obviously. The IamHouse.org is the website where we help women and their children who have survived domestic abuse. We're also on Instagram. You can join our private Facebook group through Instagram or the website to help you on your healing journey. Again, I got to put that plug in for the Children's Literacy Festival. Hope to see you March 23rd. Look, I'm coming home, my real home county, so I'll be there. Hope to see you there.
Yeah.
And yeah, stay tuned. Big things are coming, and we can't wait to connect with the Polk County people.
We cannot. And listen, this literacy festival is going to be so amazing. It was already amazing last year. Two times a charm. We're going to do two times a charm because shout out to Miss Whitney Sims. Like, girl, you did your big one with that children's literacy festival. You let us, meet so many different people. The networking was phenomenal. And, my baby of it all was just meeting the authors. That's how I got to meet Dana. So I'm so elated for that. And I cannot wait for the Literacy Festival this year as well. Make sure that you guys connect with Dana. I want you to make sure that you support her. If you know someone who's suffering from domestic violence, if you know someone who will benefit from those 3 months of counseling that is offered through her organization, that's a nonprofit right now. The girl did it in a month. Listen, consult her, ask her how, reach out to her so she can help you along your way, along your journey. You want to stay in contact with her. So I will be, when I repost this, I will put that information there as well. And I definitely thank you so much, Dana, for being my special guest for episode 107. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. I was so surprised when you reached out. It's been
I,
almost a year for us. You were
I know.
my first interview, and I was so nervous that day. It was at the end of the day. It was hot. I almost said, no, I'm not going to do it. My family pushed on the stage, and you were the perfect person to do the first one. And again, to now come back around. We need to get Doggyland to come out to the festival
Yes.
and join us for
Come
these
on,
African.
Snoop. Like, come on, Snoop. Bring Doggy Land to the Literacy Festival. Like, I think we need to have where we just forge a group and we just tag him consistently every day. Like, I'm on board for it.
Gracie's Corner. We all need to come in and do this together with these
Gracie's Corner,
affirmations.
all of listen, the backyardigans, and listen, all of y'all, we need Tab. We need Tabitha Brown in the building as well.
Love her. Love her. She's got me through some tough days, but her affirmations and her talks, baby, she
Listen.
needs
And
to.
tapped into the children's market too. Yeah, come on, Tab. We need you. We need you to help us mind our business. Come on and come on and come on. So yeah, listen, I'm looking forward to that. And so I I am so elated that I got this opportunity to speak with you. And this is a phenomenal episode. And I don't know about you, but listen, if you are not a part of the Jazzy Crew, because we just wrapped up episode 107. Being
Crazy.
consistent with something that you are passionate about is something that I really want to encourage you to do. My guests are the bomb. You see, Dana, right? So I don't just pick just anyone to be on this podcast because it is a labor of love for me, and I want you to get something out of it. Dana is not only a connection for me, but she is a connection for you. So you didn't even know that she may have offered all of these services. You may not even knew what her heart even looks like, but you got a glimpse of what it is. So please connect with her. I'm going to give you that information just like she restated. I'll restate it in my post. And I need for you to make sure that you tune into this podcast, which is amazing because I will be bringing you stories of people's comebacks every single Monday at 7 p.m. right here on IG Live. I need you to advertise your business. Shout out to Soul City Catering because we cannot wait. Tuesday through Thursday, we will be booking you because we want some of your delicious food. Listen, and if you need a host for your event, I absolutely do host as well. So you need a good host for your event. You need a phenomenal host for your event. Try me. All right. Look, I heard somebody. Soul City Catering has just tagged Snoop Dogg, and then Big Body Benz 0687 has just tagged Snoop Dogg. When you watch this replay, you need to tap in and you need to also tag Snoop Dogg because we want Doggy Land at the Children's Literacy Festival in Haines City this March. All right, 2024. So thank you so much, everybody who has tuned in. Share this episode with everyone. Go over to YouTube, subscribe, hit that notifications bell, leave us a review. We want to know how you enjoyed this podcast, what you loved about it, what you want to see more from Dana and myself, and let's get it popping. All right. So you have now been a part of my Jazzy Crew, and I invite all gold diggers, that's GOAL diggers, to come and join me every Monday at 7 p.m. Thank you so much, and you guys have a fantastic night. And remember, now is adult time for a comeback. See you later, Dana.
All right. Thank you.